Everyone, we'd just like to remind you to keep your cameras and microphones off while we are having the training so that the participants can concentrate on listening to the speakers, all right? And also, we will be having two parts of this training. First part, we will hear from our first guest speaker, Executive Two-Star Diamond Director Rosan Recalde. But just to highlight, they have been consistent in the top income award category, and also, of course, they've been consistently recipients. They've been consistent recipients of the elite bonus, and they are $1 Million Club members actually.
There you have it. No, there are very a lot of there are a lot of achievements already in their USANA business. And aside from that, you will notice our speaker for this morning, this afternoon, is one of USANA's USANA Celavip ambassador. So you will notice that she's very beautiful. She's very pleasant, no, and I'm sure a lot of you would really like to look at her, to listen at her, and learn a lot from our speaker this afternoon. And in terms of family, right, Ivy?
Yes, actually, they have been very blessed, not only in their USANA business, but also in their family. They have 8 beautiful children. But look at our speaker, ladies and gentlemen. She has carried it well. She looks so great that you would not even think that she has 8 children already, but they do. They do, and they love having those 8 children. Right? So let's not take it too long anymore, Sis Mitch. I think they're all very excited and
Yeah.
ready.
All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we present to you our first speaker for this evening, our Executive Two-Star Diamond Director, Rosan Recalde. Hello, Miss Osang. Good afternoon.
Hi, Miss O. Good afternoon.
Hi, Miss Michelle. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Yes, I can hear you, ma'am.
For Indonesia, hi. Hello, everyone. There. Okay. So how is everybody doing? I hope we caught you at a very good time. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon here in the Philippines, and I think it's a great time to learn a few things about our business. And it's really good that we have these trainings with USANA, so that even our new distributors can actually learn bit by bit into how we do the business. Okay, so at least now we're here. And before I start with the details of the training, for those who still or do not know me, or if it's the first time that you'll see me here on in Zoom and with USANA, so let me tell you a little bit about my background, like my life before USANA, or how I was before USANA. So there you go. So about my family, my mom was a teacher, my dad was a doctor. Actually, my grandfather was also a doctor, my aunt was a doctor, my uncle was a doctor. So everybody actually in my father's side, we're all in the medical field, and we had a clinic. And actually right now I am managing that clinic, which was founded since 1950 by my grandfather. So I basically grew up in that clinic. So when it comes to health and wellness and the medical stuff, I'm most likely very familiar with it, because I spend like almost every day in that field or in that environment. So actually, the good thing here is that being exposed to that, it was easier for me to adjust, and it was like I developed this love for health and science and wellness and everything. Although, as you know, there are some things that you cannot control. And before, like when I was in 6th grade, my parents separated. My dad was in the US, and my mom, she got recruited to teach in Japan. So she was recruited to Osaka International School, where she taught elementary students, and she was like a guidance counselor. So I had to go with her and study in Japan. So basically I had my high school life, or I studied high school in Japan. So I learned how to read and write Japanese. I went to a Japanese school, so I had no choice, because my mom was like telling me that I had to go to a Japanese school for me to learn the language and to be able to read and write the language. Because if I went to her school, everything would still be in English. So I went to a Japanese school, and while I was in like 3rd or 4th year, this was way back 1992 or 93, my dad died of cancer. So it was really difficult because by then, or that time, it was all new, and they didn't have like science. They didn't have like treatments or natural approaches or lifestyle changes that could actually help in the recovery. So he died 6 months after she was diagnosed. And like how, you know, you're a daughter. I promised my father that I would become a doctor. So it was like I would be like him. That was a promise I made to him before he died. So, anyways, during that time, it was quite hard, but then it was something that I was determined to do because it was a promise I made. And so I went back to the Philippines so that I can study college here and return and become a doctor. So I came back. So that's when I enrolled in a BS Medical Technology. Medical technologists are the people who test your blood, they test your urine and stool to do diagnosis. They give the results to the doctor for you to find out, like laboratory results and everything like that. Okay, so I studied medtech, so I took up that, and then there are also another something that you cannot control, like love life. So I fell in love, and what happened was that the dream of becoming a doctor was not as feasible because I got pregnant and with my first baby. So it's quite different when you're already a mom. It's not like, it's not as easy as when you're single and you have all your focus and all your efforts and all your energy up to yourself and what you do, like your studies and your business. But when you're a mother, it's not as easy because you have to divide your time, you have to divide your attention and everything. So I did not pursue I didn't pursue becoming a doctor anymore. So I had to actually work also because we would have to provide for our children. So aside from studying, so I had to stop in the middle and then resume after I gave birth. And then after that, I would have to have an extra source of income because I was already a mom. So what happened was that I did a lot of extra work or extra job or what you call extracurricular activities. So since elementary, I've always been MCs or hosts in our school plays and stuff like that. So I became a DJ for a local radio station. It was more of commentaries that we had shows like discussing different things, you know, like all around. And since it was an edge for me as being a wedding or events organizers because they actually pay you higher if you have like, you know, a label behind your name, like if you're a DJ or something like that. So even before I did hostings for weddings, car shows and all of the other stuff as a side business for extra income so that, you know, I could provide better for my kids and so that I can do what I wanted to because I never settled really for a average life. I always wanted the best in everything. So anyways, aside from that, since hosting and DJing and the radio station isn't really a fixed or secure job, so I went and managed a hotel of a family friend. So I was a manager for this. It's not a big hotel. It was like a 35. It had 35 rooms. Although it was complete with everything. We have guests and foreigners. So I managed that for like about 2 or 3 years. So, and I was around 22 or 23 years old then, but then I was determined to like have more, you know, do the best I can with my time so I can provide, you know, for my kids and my family. And then, so I had 3 jobs, 3 sources of income at that time. But then again, I had another baby, so I had to stop and quit. And then after the baby, I have to look for another job. I also work as a checker with a big shipping lines in the Philippines, Evergreen Shipping Lines, if you're familiar with it. So I was in charge with all the imports and exports. Like for the exports, I was the one in charge of where to put the container vans in which ship. So if I accidentally put one that is supposed to go to China, go into Europe, it will cost the company like millions. So, and not to mention the damages with the delay. So I was also tasked with that job. So again, after like a year or two, I got pregnant with another baby. Yeah, so I had to quit. So after having another baby, again, I looked for another job. So it was the first, I was one of the first few call center agents in the first few call centers here in the Philippines. This was, I think, way back 2005 or 2004. So it wasn't as big as of an industry as it is now. But then it was just like really, really, our salary was just like what, $200 a month. But then it was something that I can do, you know, like the speaking and the marketing and the sales and everything through the phone. So I applied and I did quite well with that. But still, again, the thing that I didn't like about that was that I was tied down to my chair like 8 hours to 10 hours a day. So, and so my mom, having a friend who in Canada who was like a head nurse, or I think of a big hospital, she was like, Roseanne, you have to study nursing, take up nursing course, so that if when you graduate or when you finish, you can go to Canada, and my friend there will give you, a good position in the hospital. So of course, like a gift to my mom, okay, mom, I'm gonna study nursing, take up nursing courses, and since it was a second course for me, it was easier because I only had to take up the major subjects, so I didn't have to like do it from the beginning. So I only took up the nursing subjects and went through it. But then again, going outside of the country was not an option for me because I didn't want to leave my children here in the Philippines and my family. I wanted to spend time with them because I experienced not having both my parents with me when I was young. So as much as possible, I would want to actually be here for my family and just, work my ass off and doing stuff to earn income. So, but I still took up nursing because my mom wanted it. And it is the thing that I have to, to follow whatever my mom says. It's a culture that we have, and it's one thing that I really respect. So I took up nursing, but while taking up nursing, I also did other, part-time jobs. So aside from like all the hosting and the emceeing, I went into real estate. Actually, a lot of I went in as an agent or a broker, in-house broker for this certain subdivision or a village. And this was actually one of my biggest breaks because I sold almost around 200 units in a span of 2 months doing that in that. So that's why I believe that if you put your heart and your efforts into it, it's very, very possible for you to actually achieve things that you think you cannot. So anyways, so I did that. As you can see in my slides, I did a lot of things, and I went into everything. I did a lot. I had a lot of experience at the age of 32. At the age of 32, that was when we were introduced to USANA. This was, I guess, around way back 2009. So we were introduced to USANA by some friends, actually Edward's friends, who were from Manila. So they came to our house. Actually, we were living in one of the houses that I was selling then. So they went to our house. And then, so since they drove all the way to our province, it's like 2-hour drive or no, 3-hour drive from Manila. So Edward was like, okay, go ahead, present to my wife. She's in the medical field. So when they presented you to USANA to us the first time, it was just me. And Edward was outside talking to his friends, and one of them was inside the house with me presenting the business. This guy, actually this boy, I can say this boy, he was like around 22, 23 years old, and his shirt was tucked out. I think the shirt was like quite faded because of being washed like too much and worn and washed. And then he was like skinny, like really skinny as a broomstick, like skinny. And since I think since they drove a long way, and it was like almost in the evening, so he was tired already, and his like face was as oily as a frying pan ready to like fry a dozen of eggs on it. So he was the one who presented the business to me. Actually, it was the whole thing. So he just showed me a book, and then he showed me one product and a picture of an old dude with full white hair whom he said was a scientist. And then he said that this business would change our lives. That was all that he said. So I was like, being polite, okay, yeah, in my mind, I was like, change our lives? Yeah, let's start changing your life first, right? So, because he really looked at that, I was talking about changing my life, okay? So it was really, really awkward. So I was like, can you imagine how I looked like? He gave me a book. He showed me a book, a product, and this guy with all white hair. That's all he showed me without no the explanation was really short. It was just that. So as you can imagine, this was my reaction. Can you see that? It is really, really something like, okay, so let's get it over with. So I said, I'm just gonna look into it. So just for the sake that I can just like shut him up and I'll just go back to whatever I was doing. And then after that, we joined like what, 7 months after. So, and the rest was history. But so what do you think of my response? The face that you can see on the screen. What do you think of my response or reaction to the presentation? Can you like type in reasons why do you think I reacted that way? Can you type it on your pad? So I can see like assessment. Why do you think did I look like that right after the presentation? Or why do you think did I just tell them, I'll think about it. I'll look into it. Come on, guys, you can type in, short phrases. So let's see. Why do you think I reacted that way? That's right. Why? I'm not interested. Yeah, because, a book, a product, and a guy with a white hair. Yeah, it was boring. Yeah, that's true. That's another thing. I was like really, really bored because it was just looking at the person who was presenting to me, it's not something that would like, arouse my interest. It's not gonna arouse interest for anyone. Not convinced, that's true. Yeah. Oh, this is one of this stuff. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Lack of information. And is that all? That's true. That's true. That's very true. Well, that's great. You guys all have a lot of ideas. You actually know everything. So can I finish my training now? You know why. Okay, yeah, that's true. It's too long. Well, actually, it was really too short because it was a shortcut of everything. I was thinking that he didn't even know what he was talking about. So yeah, it doesn't concern me. No energy. Yeah, that's true. Oh gosh, it was really, really bad, Honestly, these are some of the reasons why some of our prospects actually end up not joining or not partnering with us, not trying to understand our business. Those reasons that you are typing right now are one of the major, major, major causes why we don't really get involved in whatever it is that they're offering us or we are offering to our prospects. That is also another reason why it took us 7 months before it's one of the reasons why we actually joined the business. That's the reason why it took us so long, So you have really, really low probability of actually signing up people right after the presentation because of how you presented the business, of your approach, okay? So of all you guys, who would want a high percentage probability of associates signing up right after their presentation? Type 8 on your screen. There you go, a lot of number 8s. Yeah, that's a lot of number 8s, of course. Everybody wants on-the-spot pay-ins, right? On-the-spot sign-ups. Everybody wants that. So for me and my husband, until now, everybody's typing 8. That's really fun. That's really good. That's really good. So our record of the most signups that we were able to close and actually encode in one day was during our Ruby Director run. This was, I think, way back 2011, if I'm not mistaken, right? 2011, and we were in the Leadership Summit of USANA in Cebu, Shangri-La, Mactan, right? If you remember, Miss Cherry, because you were the one who convinced us to go on with, because we had our first week before the incentive. And during our second week in the incentive, that was when the Leadership Summit was. So by the end of the week of our first, of our week one run or the first week, we were in Shangri-La until Wednesday. And Miss Cherry was like, okay, why don't you just, why don't you push through with the run since you already had your first week? So just like, try and push it. So we came back Wednesday Again, 0 points, like 0 points, no other order at that time. So 0 points on our rupee leg. And then we met the team in Batangas. This is like 4 or 5 hour drive from our home, okay? So on Thursday, right afternoon, because we had to go home and pack and go back there. And since they all had work in the morning, and so we met them like late afternoon. So they had 0 guests. They weren't prepared. So, but then we said that we were gonna try and push, right? So what we did, Edward and I, we met with them, we planned with them for the next day. We instructed them, like, you know, we told them that we are on our 2nd week run, and if they could invite guests for tomorrow, we'll spend the night there and be there to do all the presentations the whole day. So the next day, well, actually, we barely had sleep that night. You know, we were like, you know, trying to motivate ourselves that we can do it, because it's like 5,000 points in 2 days. How can we do that? So it's really, really quite hard and challenging, but still we went through it. We tried it. So we had straight presentations the next day from 3 p.m. and we actually had 100% signups as of 11 p.m. the same day of 5,000 points. Because then before you can actually run, it's supposed, all the points should be coming in just one leg. It should be max. It should max out the leg. So it was crazy. We really wouldn't, you know, we actually couldn't believe it at that time. But then, you know, we did it. It was amazing. You know, it was really, really amazing because we were able to do it. So who wants to know how we made this happen? 5,000 points in 1 day. Type number 8 again on your pads. Yes, there you go. A lot of 8s. 8 is a good number. There you go. Yeah, everybody wants this, right? Everybody wants that. Sorry, I wasn't able to press. I'm like so excited. I wasn't able to press this. There you go. I'm down. Now my slides are updated. Okay. There. So the first step, so for you to come up with this outcome before you even start doing the presentations, you have to actually decide. You would have to decide. So what do you have to decide about? You have to decide to master the business. Master the business. Why do you have to master the business? You're just going to present. So why do you have to master the whole business? No one in this industry became successful without mastering the business. This is the thing. And I'm sure everyone here wants to earn, right? Now, I can assure you that nobody in this industry earned their first million without mastering effective presentation skills. This is one of the things that one should master. It is most vital. Now, this is why we are here today, to master effective presentation skills, okay? So now, first, we have actually 3 keynotes or 3 key things to actually consider on how we can have effective presentation skills. First, you have to know your business. When you say know your business, you have to know about the company, the products, and of course, the compensation plan or the business plan. And before that, I will need to log in or to plug in my laptop because it's in low bat. Can you please, it's saying low battery. I'm gonna be cut off. So it's not charging. Okay, it's a good thing I have Edward right here to do that for me. So I'm gonna go on. So you have to master the company, okay? Company, the products, and the compensation plan. So why do you have to master this? Why do you have to know your business? First, how can you present something that you do not understand? You have to know it by heart. Second, how can you actually present something that you do not believe in, right? Or how can you be confident in talking about something that you barely know? So first step is that you actually have to know your business, the company, the products, and the compensation plan. You have to know this by heart, okay? So knowledge is actually power. When you are knowledgeable about your business, there is no question or objection that that will make you, that will rattle you while you're presenting or make you think. It is very important to be truly confident, to be convincing enough for you to sway the opinion and outlook of your prospects or to whom you are presenting. It is really crucial that you are not put into a situation or in a position where you are questioning actually your own understanding of your business. Because if you're doubting yourself, it's highly unlikely that you can convince the person or the people you are talking to, right? So now for all of you, I would like you to actually rate yourselves. Rate yourselves from 1 to 10. 1 the lowest, 10 the highest. Rate yourself for the company, 1 to 10, the products, 1 to 10, and the compensation plan, 1 to 10, of how knowledgeable are you of these 3 aspects. So it's going to be like 10, 10, 10. So 10-10-10. There you go. We have 9, 8, 8. We have 10, 10, 10. We have 8, 8, 8. Okay, that's very good. We have a lot of 10, 10, 10. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to call on one of those 10, 10, 10s. And I have a quiz for you ready to make sure that you are actually a 10, 10, 10. Is that okay? Are you good with that? I can actually call there. Rob Vines, 10, 9, 10. Can I call on you? No, I'm just kidding. It's just a joke. Okay, I'm just kidding. And that's gonna take a long time. We're just gonna do that in person. Okay? I'm gonna contact you in person and do that quiz and give you that quiz. Okay? Yeah. All right. So there you go. So that's number 1. You have to know your business. Second, you actually have to master the 3 parts of a presentation. So what are the 3 parts of the presentation? The opening, 1, the body, 2, and 3 is the closing. These are the 3 main parts of the presentation, okay? It's not the company, the products, and the business plan. That's different. That's knowing your business. When you say the 3 major parts of a presentation, it is the opening, the body, and the closing. Those are the major 3 parts. The opening part, this is where you establish rapport. This is where you create the connection between you and the audience or you and their prospect. This is where you open their mind. This is where you make them realize things. This is where you create the needs for them to know that they need your business, okay? Again, this is the skills of like establishing the rapport. This is where you do the form. If you're familiar with form, I think of some of you heard a training about that, where you practice form, the family, occupation, recreation, right? And that is the basic one for the establishing rapport. Next is building the connection. This is how you relate. You ask them, you talk to them, you get to know them, right? And then you open the mind, and through the details that you got, that's where you create the needs. Like, for example, if they have a family of, let's say, who has health problems or this like diabetes and stuff like that, or if they have like 3 college students, kids, or if their dream is to go and travel the world, this is where you create the needs on how USANA will fit into their lives, okay? That is the opening. Establish rapport. Again, I'm gonna repeat it. Number 2, create the connection, you open the mind, and you create the needs. This is the opening. The second part, the body, this is actually where you can find the basic technical information that is already provided for. You can find it in the web. You can find it in your what do you call this? The BDS. You can find it there. You can find it online. These are all the technical details that anybody can get access to. So that is where the company, the products, and the business plan comes in. It's inside the body of the presentation. And the next is the closing. In the closing part, this is where you relay or you show your clients or your prospects or your audience what our business can actually do for them. Personal, financial, social aspect. This is where you show them the benefits that they will get if they do our business. health-wise, financial or financial security, health, like true health and true wealth. So this is where that comes in. This is where you present the summary of how USANA can actually affect and change their lives. Okay, so that is the part where you can actually give them a vision or a short view, how they can, what's waiting for them if they're gonna do the business. Okay, the three major parts: the opening, the body, and the closing. So which of these three parts do you think should you put extra effort on? Extra focus. Which of these parts do you think? You can do the O, B, or C, the first letter. Please type it in. O for the opening, B, body, C for closing. Come on. People from Indonesia and Thailand, come on, type. Which do you think should we focus on? Yeah, there you go. A lot. And spend more time. Yeah, that's right. Are you doing this? Are you actually focusing on that? What you're typing? Okay. So guys, the next slide, I'm going to ask you to actually read with me aloud, okay? For the next slide. Here you go. So read with me. It doesn't matter out loud, okay? It doesn't matter in what order these letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and last letter be at the right place. The rest can be a total mess, and you can still read it without problem. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole. Isn't that amazing, right? See? Did you try read it? Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was actually my first reaction when I read this phrase, right? There you go. See? Yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing. There you go. It is really, really important that you know a lot of people do focus on the body of the presentation, not understanding that the audience will not listen to the body unless you were able to open well. So before you go to the body, you have to establish rapport, you have to establish connection, you have to open your mind and create the needs for them to listen what you are gonna say next. This feeding information only will not lead into a successful sign up. So that's one very important part that you cannot cut short. Okay, no shortcuts in the opening. We take time in the opening in order to create the needs and know where our business will fit into their lives. Okay, and another important part that we cannot cut short or summarize is the closing. So this is where they realize why they need to do our business. This, your audience or your prospect should realize or should know what benefits they would get from doing our business. Because regardless of how good the company, how good the product, how good the business plan, if they don't see that they need it or they don't see the benefits that they will get from doing what we are doing, they're not going to do it. They're going to say that they're busy or they're okay with what they have. So you have to show them the benefits of what is waiting for them when they do USANA. Do not sell the plane, the airplane. No, you have to sell the destination, where they're going to, what's waiting for them. Okay, you have to put extra effort again and focus on where? The opening and the closing. Give more time. Do not cut corners or summarize. You have to personalize the information you got when you were doing the form or the opening and establishing the rapport, and use that for the closing. So the opening and the closing. For the body part, all you have to do is stick with the facts, the compliance, everything. You don't have to really go into detail because you can always do that when you are already in the business. All you have to do is stick with the facts and focus on the opening to prepare the guests or prepare your prospects to receive, and the closing for them to prepare them or to convince them why they need to do our business. Okay, so that's number 2. First, again, know your business. Second is master the 3 parts of a presentation. And the third, the most vital part of a presentation, the most important part of your presentation, of an effective presentation, is you. This is the very, very important part of an effective presentation, is actually you. Do you believe that? You. When you say you, it's not just who you are, because that's not what they're going to hear first. It's how you present yourself, how you look, okay? Your image. This is number 1. This is true. When they say that first impressions last, they really do last. Believe me, they last a very, very, very long time, okay? So, but now the difference of doing the business is not just before, like you do it all in person. That is what you call offline, or, you know, off the web. So when doing the business offline, you have few things to consider. First, the hair. You have to fix the hair. Of course, you shouldn't look like you just came out of the shower, or you just come in from a hurricane or a tornado. You should have to fix your hair. Second, you have to, your looks, the face. The face should look presentable and trustworthy. That's number 1. And the attire, of course, you have to look presentable. If you are presenting $1 million or $1 billion business, you have to look that you're presenting $1 billion business. You cannot go wearing a simple shirt and shorts or slippers. You cannot do that. It's very important. Some actually, they tend to like overlook the smell. Do you believe in the smell? Because not only the smell like perfume, but the smell that comes out from your mouth, because it's in person, it actually radiates. If make sure to actually make sure that what comes out is pleasant, because it has a very, very, very big effect, and your guests or your clients will get distracted when what comes out is unpleasant. Okay, and of course your tools. Yeah, use just on a toothpaste. That's true. So the tools, it's very important that you have presentable tools. If you have like a book, like the comparative guide, you have to make sure that it's not all wrinkled or falling apart. You have to make sure that they look presentable. If you have a pen, make sure that your pen is actually worth something, not something that you find in a grocery store and throw away the next day. Because you're presenting, again, $1 billion business. So you have to actually prepare for it. For offline, basically that's it. The basics of image or presentation. Online. Now, when you do online presentation, it's not just how you look. It's not just your presentation, but also your background. This is a very, very important thing that's beginners or newbies actually tend to overlook, or they think it's okay. It doesn't really matter. First, you have to take note of the lighting. So when you say lighting, it doesn't mean that it has to be bright. You have to mix the light colors. It cannot be all white light. It cannot be all yellow light. Because if it's all white light, it's going to look like you're in a laboratory or in a morgue. It's all white. Not good. It cannot also be all yellow. Why? Because it's going to look that your liver is not functioning with the yellow, or you have your stick with some disease because when it's all yellow. So again, it should be a mixture of white and yellow light. The ring light is good because it's built in to be like that. It's built in to give you a color of the mixture of white and yellow. But if you do not have a ring light, just buy 4 bulbs interchanged, and you have to actually turn them on all at the same time to give that effect. Okay, yellow and white mixed colors. If you have actually one small ring light, get a bigger one to make sure that it's bright. Because when you look dark or gloomy, this presentation is gonna be like, they're gonna be like sleepy because it's like dark. So make sure. Second, background. Your background at least should be light colored, or the wall should be painted light colored so that it's not straining to the eyes. Okay, so light colored background, and have like put accents, like if you can see the physical setup, there's like accents in the background so that it's not plain white. or plain cream or plain beige, that it looks like you came out of an ID picture, so make sure that's another thing. Add accents so there is it's pleasant to look at. And as much as possible, please avoid using the background. They have this, I forgot what you call it, the fake backgrounds. Please refrain from using those virtual backgrounds. Please refrain from using these to relay more transparency and to build the trust of your viewers or of your audience by letting the audience, into your personal space, into your own office. Because when you let your audience, into your personal space, they actually let their guards down subconsciously. It's like they're with you. Okay, so make sure that when you do your presentation, it doesn't have to be your whole house. It doesn't have to be your whole room, but only the part that you can see on the screen. Okay, make sure that it's pleasant. All right. And then another thing you should consider is the camera angle. Where your camera, everybody has their pleasant angle. It may be different for me, it can be different for you. So you have to test it. You have to use, try to put the camera a little bit above your head so that when you talk, it's like the head level, the eye level, it's the same, a little bit above your eye level. And if you are using like mobile phones, you should have a stand. Don't hold it. You should have a stand and like try to pull it like farther away. Make sure that your screen is not all face. Okay? Make sure that those skin pores are not, visible on the screen. Okay? The background should be bigger than your face. All right? No matter how pretty you are, no matter how good looking you are, make sure that your background is actually bigger than your face. Okay? You take note of that. All right? And then another is the looks. Wear makeup, of course, so that you don't look pale. So it doesn't have to be like full makeup with a thick one, but make sure that you have eyebrows, lipstick, and eyeliners just to define the shape of your eyes, to define the eyebrows, to define, and lipstick so that you don't look pale. Even that's good. And for men, you can actually put powder to avoid that, having to fry a dozen eggs on your face thing. So you can do the camera and the powder and lip tint. If you can buy lip tints, like just to make, to remove that pale complexion. Not a lipstick, okay? Lip tint, all right? Okay, and another thing to consider, of course, is mic quality. You have to have clear mic quality. If you do not have a budget to buy those expensive microphones with the noise cancellation and everything, you can always use headphones. Do not use headsets, okay? Headphones are different from headsets. So use headphones. It doesn't have to be AirPods. It doesn't have to be, the AirPods Pro, but something that it's better if it doesn't have any wires to avoid distraction when you move on where you talk. So for you to look more natural and authentic. And do not use headphones for you to look more formal. Because when you have headphones, you look like there's nothing wrong to look, in looking like a call center agent. But if you're presenting a business that you really would want to engage in and like $1 billion business, please don't use headphones so that you'll look more formal. Okay? So use headphones. Okay? The first thing you invest in is the good mic quality. If you can actually buy, or if you're planning to buy headphones, please do try save up for the AirPods because they have better mic quality. They have their own noise cancellation. Please save up on that, or if you can get it on installment with the zero interest stuff, it's an investment really, really worth it. So you can communicate better, and so that you'll have to do less effort in exerting your voice. And at the other end of the listener, it doesn't sound irritating to the ears because the sound is already regulated. Okay, so mic quality and headphones. Okay, so talking about image, do you guys want to know who was the guy I described earlier? Do you guys want to know who I was talking about? The guy who presented USANA to me that night, the 23-year-old boy who had his shirt tucked out. Yeah, you want to know? I'm going to show you, okay? So, this guy, the who, the guy whose face was so oily that, you know, it was like, you know, I can fry a dozen eggs there. This guy. There were like a lot of guesses. Oh my gosh. You should see. I think you're going with the skinny. Not Mentor Dward. He was outside talking to his friends. And okay, let me show you the picture of this guy. Do you recognize him? Do you guys recognize him? I have permission to use the photo, okay? I asked permission. He actually really, really looked like that. And the thing to add up is that he just, you know, he showed me a book. I think that was the old comparative guide to nutritional supplements, the big white one. He showed me a product, which was Biomega. And he said, this Biomega is for everything. I asked, what's good for this? Biomega. What's good for that? Biomega. And this one, Biomega. And he showed me a picture of Dr. Wentz, who was a scientist. That's the thing. That's the only thing that he told me. And he told me that it will change my life. And imagine, I was a DJ. I was an events host. I was an organizer. I managed a hotel for 3 years. I worked in the harbor. I did real estate. I sold almost 200 units of houses in 2 months. So just imagine how I would react to a person who looked like that presenting to me. Yeah, right? Just imagine. You can stop laughing, you know? See? It is really crazy. So it took us 7 months. That's why. But then again, look at him now. Ta-da! That's right. Mentor Caleb Edpao. Now a one-star diamond director, $1 million club member, top income earner, and all of those accolades right on his name. See the difference of how he looks like? Would you have recognized him? Do you think you would have recognized him? You think you would recognize him if you saw him then and now? Right? Really amazing. This is actually life-changing. You know, he wasn't lying when he said that this business is going to change your life. And when I was thinking that you should change your life first, it really did change his life, right? Imagine that. Look at that. It's really, really different, right? If he presented now, then yeah, of course, because you can see it, right? And I'm sure he's just not going to tell me Biomega for everything, right? Mentor Caleb, if you're watching. Look at him now. So, know this. Every master was once a beginner. And every pro was an amateur before. Each and every one of our successful mentors or uplines started just like you. No idea, no skills, you know, no results, no nothing, zero experience. Everybody started that way. When we started USANA, it's the same thing. The only thing we had was 3 things. The willingness to learn and improve. Number 2, the mindset to succeed. And of course, the most important, the vision of achieving our goals. We only had those 3 things when we started USANA. And the good thing about these things are they're all up to you. You have total control over them. All you have to do is you decide, you act, and you believe. Those are the 3 things that you should always have. Willingness to learn and improve, just the simple things, the mindset for you to succeed, and the vision to achieve your goals. And of course, don't forget, you decide to do this, you act on it, and you believe that you can do it. You believe that you can have all these things that life, or that USANA, our business, has to offer you. Okay, and to end our training, and my training, always remember, the word improvement starts with the letter I. It starts with you. Okay, so thank you, everyone. I hope you learned a lot, and I really do hope that you can use this in your coming presentations, and I'm sure it will really, really, really turn out to be useful. Thank you. There you go. Thank you very much. I hope you all enjoyed and understood this. And I hope next year, when we see you in the convention 2022, I hope that everything's back to normal then. I really hope that you will be with us on stage.